Hey y'all, happy Sunday. For those of you who've been following along with me so far, we're about halfway through my PCS trip so far. If you remember seeing before Christmas, you would have seen that I've explained that my PCS is in two parts actually, part one and part two. Part one was moving Abby and the dogs up. Part two is moving up all this wonderful stuff behind me back here. And today I'm going to explain exactly why I'm choosing to do that. Because if I want to coach you well financially, I need to explain all the things I'm doing, and you can see, okay, what goes well for me, what doesn't go well for me. And that way, when you go to plan your moves in the future, you'll have someone else to base it off of. All right, y'all. So we're going to jump on in. I'm going to show you the reason why we're doing two parts. And as you can see here is John and Abby's PCS 2025. So the biggest backstop here is that my report date is 28 February to Virginia. So that's our driving backstop. And obviously I said this is broken into two parts. Part one of our PCS, we did over HBL 2024. And that was moving Abby and the dogs from El Paso to Virginia so that they could kind of set up shop and get ready. Part two is me and my dad driving up from here in El Paso to Virginia. Lieutenant Colonel, please prove my leave. It's not approved yet. Please, love you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks. As I said, my dad and I moving approximately from the 3rd to 8th of February to go to Virginia. So that's kind of that part two. The biggest reason here is because Abby's pregnant, like very pregnant. She's like 7 months pregnant. And so by the time, if we were to wait until February to move, she'd be 8 months pregnant. So that's kind of our primary reason for doing all of this in the first place. As you can see there now, our baby is due on the 25th of March. So that is our factor driving this whole move to begin with. So yeah, that's why we chose to break it up into multiple parts. The biggest reason is because, for the baby, I want to make sure that Abby is able to get doctor's appointments and also switch doctors too, which is a whole thing in itself. I'll have to have her on sometime to discuss the frustrations with that. We tried to get our records before we left El Paso, but they wouldn't give them to us. Like, oh, we'll send them if you need them. Well, shocker, you need your records, and we didn't get them, and that was frustrating. Second reason for moving Abby early in part one was also I didn't really want to deal with moving an 8-month pregnant woman and all the funness that would come with that. So she's comfortable, a little chilly in Virginia because it's cold, but comfortable in Virginia. And last but not least, Abby's there right now getting the house ready. So over HBL we started, and Abby's finishing up right now. We're just cleaning the apartment. It's funny. There's still dog fur from when we, were first dating there, which I think it's funny. So cleaning up old dog fuzz, organizing stuff in the kitchen, organizing stuff to make sure the baby's ready, getting the nursery ready and all that stuff. Also, she has a truck. So fun note on that. She was going to have our Ford Explorer, but the transmission it didn't crap out again, but it's leaking again. And we paid to get that fixed earlier in the year. So that was kind of frustrating, but you roll with the punches. So she has a truck, which worked out for the snow. So that was nice. The last reason why we moved Abby kind of early in part one was because her company that she works for, AIS, is headquartered in that Northern Virginia area. So our hope was that maybe she could get a couple extra students to work with, make a little extra money so that, every dollar helps. I mean, who would blame me or who would blame anybody for working a little extra before a baby comes? But either way, to kind of summarize all this, and I'm kind of rushing through, to put this all into perspective, the reason why this is all able to happen is because we're going back home. We're going back to be 30 minutes from both of our parents. We also have a place to live. My in-laws, Abby's parents, have a rental apartment that's not occupied. So they've so generously decided to let us live there. I'm sure it's, not because we have a baby coming. They want to see the baby. I don't know. But very fortunate to have that. And I also bring that up because, it takes some of the financial risk and financial burden away from it because we didn't have to buy a house. We didn't have to go through a process to get approved to rent anything. And if we were and had to back out last minute because like my orders changed or something like that, that would have put a big stress on our finances. And thankfully, because I have family here, if something was to change, I don't have any money at stake on moving to my in-laws. So I'm very lucky, very fortunate there. So yeah, now kind of on to part two. Yeah, so some of you are probably wondering, hey, John, are you going to move that all by yourself? no, man, I'm going to move it with my dad who's coming down. And then I also have friends that help me move as well, which make life a lot nicer. So very thankful to have all those things and all those people involved to help it. And that's what makes our move possible. All right, y'all. So, going to wrap up this video here with the reason why we chose to do a PPM or personally procured move, formerly known as a Diddy move. And our biggest reason is control. When I moved Abby from Virginia to here in El Paso, the movers were great. They were nice. They helped. Very expensive, by the way, if you hire movers. So keep that in mind, especially when you don't know how much, when you think you know how much stuff you have, but you don't really know how much stuff you have. Yeah, that one kind of stung a lot. Um, so yeah, they were great, but the moving company stunk. They were really hard to get a hold of, especially after they picked up my stuff. And they would give me a couple different dates to drop stuff off, and they would never come by. I'd call like when they told me to expect stuff, they'd never pick up. It was incredibly stressful and frustrating, especially when I tell my company commander that I was going to be away to grab my stuff and that it would never show up. It made that relationship stressful too. So I did not enjoy that at all. And if you don't know, like it's not like the Army has a moving team that just moves you. They sub it out to somebody who will do it for you. So it's some company they don't even know that's going to move your stuff. So don't think it's some special group that's helping you out. It's not. It's just a regular moving company. So control, and I understand like by doing this, we're taking a little bit of a financial risk, primarily because we're fronting the money to do the move, and the Army will hopefully reimburse us on the back end. So thankfully, I mean, you've seen our saving journey so far. We have enough saved up in our checking account and our emergency fund if we need our emergency fund that we could cover the move. So that's nice. But some of y'all think, oh, I'll make money on my PPM, and be careful with that because for those of you that are just throwing like sandbags and stuff in the back, like that is fraud. So if you get caught, you're definitely going to get in a heap of trouble. So don't do it. Uh, but for those of you that have a whole house worth of stuff, a lot, couches, a gun safe, and desks and beds and stuff like that, like your weight will add up, and you'll end up having a lot of weight. So it might be worth doing a PPM if the packing all your stuff doesn't inconvenience you too much, or if you don't even mind the inconvenience. So yeah, that's kind of our biggest reason, like I said, is control. So I hope you got something out of the video today. I hope that this helps you plan your next PPM or shows you that it's worth doing the Army move instead. If you do that, make sure you label all your stuff and all that good stuff. Keep a good inventory. I just hope it helped. I hope you all have a great day. I love it all. I'll see y'all in the next video.